What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground. We are an unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420. And I got two other guys with me today. You want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. I'm Steve Bitto. I'm the community manager for PlayStation Lifestyle. And you can find me on the PSN. My tag is Tyler X Durden.
And hey, I'm Wanibara. You can find me on PSN as Jackman1997.
Awesome. And this week I've still been playing quite a bit of Project Cars. Also played a little bit of Ether 1, Bloodborne. I played a little bit of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, a little bit of Grand Theft Auto 5, Battlefield 4. Just added Gun Game, or Gun Master, whatever it's called in Battlefield. So that's been pretty fun lately. Also, I tried a bit of Saints Row 4. Just got that on sale. I finished up playing Slender the Arrival, Blue Estate, and I even played a little bit of Alien Isolation, which is an amazing game. I played it last year on PC, and I just got it on PS4, and it's so much fun, even the second time around. But what have you guys been playing lately?
I haven't had time to play much, but I did start Dishonored. I'm anticipating a Dishonored 2 at Bethesda's conference. I'd like to kind of play through and kind of see what all the hype is about. Because I've owned it, and I started it once before, but I never finished it. So I'm starting it over, and we'll see how cool it is.
Yeah, that happened with me as well. I just started it, never finished it. Started it again, never finished it. I'm not sure if I'll ever finish it. But my games, I haven't been playing much. I was too busy focused on school, but I'm done with it now. So now I have more free time. I did get through Arkham City again, and the DLC for that, the Harley Quinn's Revenge. I finished that again for the second time, just in preparation for Arkham Knight, which now I'm fully ready for. I'm excited for that. Other than that, I haven't done much with games.
Damn. Yeah, that reminds me, I gotta play Arkham City still.
Hurry up, get on that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to do it in time, but I mean, Arkham Knight is looking better and better the more I see of it, which is pretty awesome. So, this week we wanted to talk about the just recently announced Uncharted trilogy, it's actually called the Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection. It almost feels like they're kind of copying Microsoft a little bit with that, and the whole fact that you get Uncharted 4 beta access with it.
Oh yeah,
they're stealing Microsoft's ideas. I'm just joking, but I've been excited for this for a long time. I've been hopeful that it would happen, although all signs did point to it that it was definitely going to happen. I mean, between the screenshots of Uncharted 3 on PS4 they released like last year, I think, when the SharePlay came out, I think.
Yeah.
That update. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just kind of obvious, especially with Uncharted 4 getting delayed. It seems like it's a great idea for them to do it this year, because, there's no Uncharted this fall, so it makes a lot of sense to finally do that trilogy that people have been wanting, plus the whole fact that, supposedly almost 50% of the people who bought PS4 didn't have a PS3, so I think it would be awesome to replay those games, and I frankly can't wait because it's been a while since I've touched any of them.
Yeah, I agree. And part of what I'm looking forward to a lot is seeing how much polish they were able to add to Uncharted 1. Because really, it's a good game, but it definitely didn't have the technical polish that 2 and 3 had. So it'll be interesting to see how much they went back to it.
Yeah, they are supposed to do some gameplay improvements, I think I read. Could be mistaken, but I'm curious. I do hope. One thing that always annoyed me about Uncharted 1 was how it's like you'll shoot at the guy and then you'll dodge your bullets. That always annoyed the hell out of me, to be honest.
Immediately you dodge him, yeah.
Yeah, especially because that's one of those games that didn't have the swap sticks option. So it's like I'm already handicapped by using the right stick, which I'm not used to. But it also, when they do that, it just drove me a little bit nuts. So it's like I put it on easy, and I did get through the game. But yeah, at first it was pretty difficult for me. I mean, thanks to the fact it's on PS4, they don't even need to add that option because I can just switch it in the accessibility options menu, which is, thank you so much for that update, Sony. But yeah, no, I am curious about that. I'm also curious to see, like, hopefully all three of them stick to 60 frames a second. I know they're shooting for it, and I'm thinking they can, but it is Blue Point, not Naughty Dog, so, I mean, maybe they won't be able to do it as well as Naughty Dog did with Last of Us, but at the same time, Uncharted, all three of the Uncharted's actually ran like a bit smoother than The Last of Us did on PS3, so I mean, most likely they will be able to achieve the 60 FPS target, but I'm curious what they do with everything else. Like, I mean, are they going to have the 4 times the text resolution that Last of Us had, and like double shadow resolution, all the little enhancements they did with Last of Us? I'm curious just to see exactly how much they're able to pull out of it, because it is Blue Point. I mean, Naughty Dog did do the hard work, which was getting an engine up and running, to port Last of Us to PS4, but yeah, so I'm definitely curious about a lot of things, but I'm also just excited to replay it. I mean, I haven't played an Uncharted game since I played a little bit of Uncharted 2 on PS Now with my Vita. Have you guys played any Uncharted games recently?
Not recently, no. Probably last time I played one was Uncharted 3. That was the multiplayer. But the story-wise, I haven't gone back to them in a long time. So I'm pretty excited to go through all of them again in a more superior fashion on the PS4. Just the 60 frames per second, the 1080p. It sounds nice. I'm excited for it. I'm also excited for... I'm not excited for the fact that they don't have multiplayer, but in consolation, they have the Uncharted 4 beta. So that's pretty exciting. I'm excited to see what they do with that. See if it's more in the style of Uncharted 3 or Uncharted 2 or just something completely different. See what they've learned in the past few years with multiplayer, and just I'm excited to see what it ends up with.
Yeah, it's kind of what we were talking about before. Was that I kind of wonder what Druckmann is going to bring over from his experience with The Last of Us. If that will change the tone of the multiplayer, or if it'll kind of stay the way it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something I was wondering about too, because I mean, The Last of Us multiplayer was very, very well received. I'd say probably even more well received than the Uncharted multiplayer.
Yeah, I think so.
And it is interesting, like they could combine some of the stealth elements that are in the single player into the multiplayer. And I mean, The Last of Us multiplayer is very, very stealth based, but Uncharted multiplayer was always typically like arena type multiplayer where you run around and shoot everybody and you use a lot of cover. Personally, I hope that they have the same cover system that's in The Last of Us, so you're not snapping to the cover, but if you're crouched behind it, you're kind of in cover, but you still can be shot from multiple angles, because that was one of the things I didn't like as much about the Uncharted multiplayer is like, if you're in cover, it's very hard to shoot you. Like, it's very hard to shoot someone who's in cover. I mean, except for when they're shooting at you. But it wasn't quite like that in Last of Us. In Last of Us, all you had to do was just get the angle on them a little bit, and you could take them out pretty easily, because there were, like, certain body parts that would stick out. I mean, it was very realistic, the cover system in Last of Us, and I'm very curious to see how they work all that out for Uncharted 4. And one thing I am hoping is that hopefully it doesn't take as many bullets to kill people, because that was one thing I never really enjoyed about the, Uncharted multiplayer. It seemed like you really had to put like a whole clip into someone to take them out, and the guns weren't exactly super accurate. And also hip fire was pretty accurate compared to the aiming down sights, which I also wasn't a huge fan of, just because I usually feel like that if you're aiming down sights, you should get that bonus of accuracy, but it seemed to favor the people who are hip firing. It sometimes, except for long distance stuff. But I don't know. I didn't play a ton of it. Did you got a lot into the multiplayer, right, Juan?
Oh yeah, definitely. The Uncharted 2, I was phenomenal at it for a while. I was pretty great at it, and then I stopped playing it for a while, and as such, what happens is you don't get good in it anymore. So now if I go back to it, I'm not that great, but the hours I spent with it was fascinating. Really, it was like, while every other game at the time was using loadouts and all that stuff, it was very classic, very I don't know, it felt very natural in Uncharted 2. It was just you're dropped there with a default, I don't know, an AK-47, like just a random one-shot pistol, and then you just go around the map and pick up weapons that are spread out around there. That was fascinating. It was fun to play that because it felt even. Everything felt even. Plus the maps were very unique. It took what was in the single player, put it in multiplayer. Which is also what I'm excited to see with Uncharted 4. You know, seeing the 15 minutes that were shown at the PlayStation Experience in December, I'm excited to see what they carry over from that into multiplayer, if anything. Like you said, the stealth elements from The Last of Us, anything really that makes the experience feel more organic. I'm excited to see what happens with that. And as such, Uncharted 3. That one was a little different. Uncharted 3 multiplayer, it felt more arcadey. They definitely made the game feel much lighter in tone, and it was more so like, oh, you get this many medals, and you can get like a power up or get like an RPG that spawns out of nowhere. You know, stuff that was just kind of crazy, and it gave you an upper hand if you were good. Which was cool, but it wasn't exactly the tone I was looking for, which is why I'm excited to see if it goes back to Uncharted 2 tone. But I don't know, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, well, I would actually like loadouts, but I didn't like some of the other elements that you mentioned about Uncharted 3. Like, I didn't play a ton of 2 as multiplayer, but what I did play, I did enjoy. But I'm definitely a fan of loadouts, though. Like, I like how it lets you play the way you want to play and with the weapons that you want to use too. And also, I feel like there's a lot less unfair gunfights that way. Because if you have just like whatever they give you at the start, and then someone else has a power weapon, I mean, you're pretty much automatically screwed unless they're bad and you're good. So that's why I kind of do like loadouts. But some of that other stuff, like all the crazy bonuses and stuff, wasn't a huge fan of that stuff either.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with like the sandstorms, I mean, that was a little weird too.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah.
I actually didn't play 3
sorry,
online.
What were you going to say, Steve?
I didn't play 3 online at all. I only played 2. And even 2, I don't remember playing too much after I got it. I played the beta like a lot. Because as I remember, there wasn't that much out at that particular time when I got the beta. So I actually played that, as if it was more like the real game, and I actually had a really good time with it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I liked it a lot. Yeah. Compared to Uncharted 3, I feel it's much better. And the loadouts thing you're talking about, it is. I do prefer loadouts, and then in Uncharted 2, in certain matches, the team you're playing up against would be a bunch of friends that are in a party, and they would all know where the power weapons are at, and they'd all grab them, and the game would feel kind of unfair in that aspect. But I feel like you can maybe mix that in with loadouts, and then, although I don't want them, maybe those power-ups and all that stuff could be maybe interweaved more into the multiplayer in a more, I don't know, just a more eloquent fashion.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. And one thing, like I know a lot of people are disappointed that the Nathan Drake Collection isn't going to have the multiplayer, but personally, I'm more disappointed that it's not going to have the co-op because I actually really enjoyed the co-op a lot more than the multiplayer personally. And also there was definitely a lot of levels in Uncharted 3 for co-op, and there were some in 2 as well. So I thought it would have been cool if they at least just included the co-op from Uncharted 3, because I think it shared some of the same levels as 2 anyways. It could be a lot of fun to play with your friends and stuff, or just with a random person, because I don't know, I've always kind of liked the single player gameplay of Uncharted, like the shooting and like the AI, especially they mixed up the enemy AI quite a bit in the co-op to make it pretty hard, and instead of just a bunch of mindless hordes, like you also would have the heavies and the big guys in armor. So I thought it was pretty cool, and so that is a little disappointing, but not a huge deal. I mean, to me the main attraction of any game period is the single player. But especially in Uncharted's place,
Definitely.
I feel that
they're going to be
the reason
really
why
fun
they
to replay at 1080p.
The reason why they didn't add the multiplayer is because when Uncharted 4 comes out, they don't want anyone to have any other thing to play except the Uncharted 4 multiplayer. And I think if they allowed people to get like kind of entrenched in the Uncharted Collection multiplayer, a lot of people wouldn't move on. Like they'd play the Uncharted story mode, but they'd go back to the Uncharted Collection because they know the maps. It's more, it's already accessible. They don't have to learn anything new. So, I mean, I'm sure that's part of it.
I'm not sure. I mean, people do move on to the new Call of Duties every year. I mean, in Battlefields, assuming that they're good. Unless they're, like, really bad. So I think the only way they'd have to worry about that is if the Uncharted 4 multiplayer was drastically different or just worse than the, Uncharted 3 or 2 multiplayers, which... who knows? Maybe Uncharted 4 is quite a bit different from their previous multiplayers. So maybe that's why, because they know that if Uncharted 4 it plays pretty differently than 3 or 2, then that might give people a reason to stick with 3 and 2 because that's what they're used to. And if it's something completely different, they might not want to move up to the next one. I think that happened with the Resistance series actually. It was like 2 had 60-player multiplayer, and personally, I didn't find it fun at all. But then 3 was more like, a traditional shooter, except on steroids. It only had 16 players, and it was just a more like tight arena-based, like kind of Call of Duty-like, except with crazy weapons and abilities. And a lot of people were a little bit turned off by that, and they went back to 2. And maybe that is what they're considering. Yeah, I mean, because if 4 is that much different, like Resistance was, then I could see that happening. But otherwise, if it's still a lot like the older multiplayers, I'm pretty sure most people would move on. But who knows? We'll have to see on that. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to try out the beta and just to see how it looks on PS4. I mean, even though it is just a beta, I think it'll be a pretty good indication of how the graphics will be on PS4.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so do you guys want to widen this out kind of to talk about like remasters in general?
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when it comes to like Uncharted 4 or the Uncharted collection, like I kind of feel like this is kind of a return to form for the collections and the remasters. They're giving you the full series, which I mean people are mad that Golden Abyss isn't there, but that wasn't really part of the trilogy arc. And then the Uncharted 4 beta too. So they're really giving you like a full package for your $60, And then
for sure,
what I was talking about with Hugo before we started was that it's kind of weird for Sony to do this right after they have the God of War 3, which really doesn't have much, context. If I know
really
we were saying
project.
Yeah, the pre-order comes with the 1 and 2, but the average person is not going to pre-order that. They're going to pick it up, when it's on sale for $30. So there's absolutely no context to God of War, and I don't know if they're coming out of the God of War 4 prequel, sequel, whatever it's going to be. We might find out at E3. But either way, I mean, there's no context. On the Uncharted, however, is like the full collection, and it's going to lead you right up to where Uncharted 4 starts.
Yeah.
So I mean, it seems like so much more bang for your buck, and it's kind of weird for Sony to have two completely different approaches.
I mean, in God of War 3 is $40 for just that, and while Uncharted has 3 games and it's $60, so it's basically $20 a game, and it's also the whole series. So I think it is kind of weird that they're charging $40, which isn't the worst. I mean, my personal opinion on remasters is they're great as long as they're priced correctly. But if it's like Square Enix, those assholes who charge $60 for Tomb Raider a year after it came out, or $60 for Sleeping Dogs, which was a game that didn't really even sell that good, to the point where they gave it away for free on PS Plus, and then, what was it, Final Fantasy Type O, which was a PSP game, and, I mean, the main reason they did that was because of the Final Fantasy beta, 15 beta or whatever, and it's like, to me, that is remasters done wrong, and that's why people should be pissed off about remasters, but, like Uncharted or the Halo Master Chief Collection or Metro Redux, that to me that's remasters done right. I mean,
I agree.
Not only because they're priced correctly, and I mean, because last gen remasters were typically $20 or $15 per game. I mean, like you did have some cases of like the God of War collection was God of War 1 or 2 that was $40, or the Origins collection, which was most of the PSP games from God of War, and that was $40 as well. But that's fine. There's only $20 per game. But this generation is the first time where anyone's tried to charge $60 for a remastered game, which I find ridiculous, especially because they didn't put that much effort into remastering the games. Like especially Sleeping Dogs. I mean, it was 1080p. It had the DLC, but that's it. Like I don't see how they can justify charging $60 for that. I mean, same thing with Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider. I think it had all the DLC, but other than that, it was just a visual upgrade to 1080p. They did do a little bit of work to make it look better, but nothing compared to like Metro Redux or some other stuff. But that's the thing, is like Metro Redux was priced correctly. Other than that, I gotta say I do love remasters. Because I'm a person who really likes to replay games that I've already played, and to me, remasters with the whole visual upgrade to 1080p, possibly 60 FPS. That's just a really good excuse to replay stuff. Like I'm really excited to replay Journey on PS4. I've actually been holding off on replaying Journey, just because I'm waiting for the PS4 version. The same thing with the Uncharted trilogy. It's like the last couple of months, I have actually had the desire to replay Uncharted. Especially when that 15-minute demo of Uncharted 4 came out, I was like, oh man, I need to play some kind of Uncharted. And it's like, I would have replayed the whole game, and I was like, you know what, I better wait for it to come out on PS4. So, I am really, really excited to play that. As excited for that as almost anything out this year, other than like, the really big Metal Gear Solid 5 and Rocket League type games. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know if you saw, but that's coming out on the 7th.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I can't fucking wait.
You have no idea how excited I am.
Oh, same here. Game of the year. Sorry, Kojima.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, like part of me is more excited for Uncharted than I am for Fallout.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, for sure.
Not that Fallout will be bad, but what I saw in the trailer just didn't grab me the way like just an Uncharted announcement does.
For sure,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to go back to play those 3 games. But yeah, like I said, like it's just kind of, and kind of just agreeing with you really is that it's about the pricing for what you're getting, and you want like a full complete package, and you want it to have a purpose, like like you said, like Sleeping Dogs, like where does that really fit into this generation? I can't even imagine that they sold very many this time around.
I loved the game, but yeah, it was just like a like kind of a pointless remaster, and in Saints Row 4 was also one. Like, I guess I can kind of understand them doing it because I'm sure not a lot of people got it on last gen. But like they put as little, and I'm serious, as little effort as possible into the remaster. Like it's 1080p, and that's about it. Like, because literally, it's the worst graphics on PS4 as far as AAA games go. Like, and it's still a wicked fun game. Don't get me wrong, but like that is like the most half-assed port remaster I've seen so far.
Right.
But I don't think they charged a ton. Like I think it was like $40 for that. I think.
Yeah.
Well, but that is still like twice as much as I think it should have cost. But at least it's not $60 like Sleeping Dogs was. But I got it for $15 because of that sale last week, and it also came with Gat Out of Hell too. So I'm not complaining about what I paid, but it's still like there's definitely a lot of examples of remasters that are unfairly priced. There's also some that are good examples of being at good price, like Halo Master Chief Collection. I'd probably say is the best value as far as remasters go so far. We're a PlayStation podcast. We don't like to talk about Microsoft too much, but I do have to give them a lot of credit because it's 4 games, heavily remastered. Like as far as the early ones,
great
like
value.
Halo 1 and 2. And also, I loved what they did with the multiplayer is that it was just one multiplayer mode, but it combined maps from all 4 of the games. And
Genius.
I think that's a really cool idea. Yes, it didn't work at all, and as far as I've heard, it still doesn't really work completely yet.
But in theory,
kind of messed up. But
nice.
But I still think $60 for that kind of a package is stellar.
Right.
Yeah. And I'd be surprised if any other remaster collection tops that this gen, because I mean that's a really good value. $15 a game plus, heavily reworked and in the multiplayer thing. Although it didn't work, it's still a good value. But
then on the other hand, you got to say, maybe was that too ambitious? Is that why it doesn't work?
I really don't know. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling that they had that much trouble getting it to work, because they've done multiplayer games before, and I don't know. I don't even know, to be honest. Like, it is confusing. I'd like to find out someday. Like, I mean, hopefully someone will do a story on exactly why, those games had so much trouble with the multiplayer. Like, not just Halo, but Drive Club. Why did they have so much problems at launch? I mean, that lasted a lot less time than Halo, but it's just another one of those games that launched with basically online that wasn't working, and it's kind of confusing how it ended up being that bad. Same thing with Halo, same thing with that Tetris Ultimate thing, which was basically completely broken at launch. And I mean, I would hopefully someone writes like an article or a book on that, because I'm really curious to see how they messed it up that bad.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they've done multiplayer games before, so it's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I really enjoy multiplayer. I mean, remasters. What remasters have you guys played so far this gen?
For me, I just have played The Last of Us so far.
That's it?
Yep. Yeah. And basically, I think I just played like half the story mode, and then I played the Left Behind DLC.
Oh, yeah.
Which was worth it.
Yeah. I still haven't gotten around to playing that.
I thought that The Last of Us Remastered was kind of too unfairly priced, like $50 for it. But I'm such a fan that I bought it on day one anyways. But I think that is another example of maybe the price being a little too high, because I mean it was $50 just for one game and a DLC, well, plus a couple maps for the multiplayer. But I don't know. I think that's a little too much compared to last gen, especially because the game just came out a year before that.
Well, I think part of that was they were selling it kind of as a new game.
Yeah, true.
Kind of a continuation of the sales of the original Last of Us on PS3. It wasn't as much of a remaster as it was like a continued release, updated release, so people could still buy it who didn't have PS3.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did a great job as far as the remastering goes. But yeah, I don't know, $50. It is totally understandable though, because considering like they were saying that half the people who bought a PS4 didn't own a PS3. But I've actually played quite a few remasters so far, except for the Square Enix ones. Well, other than Tomb Raider, I did actually get that on sale. But I've played Metro Redux, which I think I've raved about on other podcasts. I absolutely love it, and it's like I already owned it on PC with the season pass and played it 2 times each game, and I still bought it day one, played the hell out of it, and I'm not even done with it yet. I'm a huge fan of those games, and as far as remasters goes, I think that that's one of the best, just because I mean they really rebuilt and reworked Metro
it's
2033
actually,
at least.
It's on sale right now at Best Buy for $20, and then I have the 20% off with the Gamers Club unlocked, so I'm gonna pick it up actually probably tonight. It's only $16.
Yeah. Totally worth it, and I mean, I think they actually put like a huge demo on the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, they
store
did.
For each
I
game.
remember. Yeah, I remember.
It's like supposedly like a third of the game or something.
Right.
But I just hope I kind of wish they didn't do that for Last Light's case, because if anyone demos Last Light first, they're gonna have tons of spoilers for 2033. So I think it's kind of crazy that they're doing that for Last Light, but. 2033 I think is cool. Like there's not a lot of demos this generation it seems, but other than that, I did get GTA 5 on day one for
GTA 5
PS4.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
I forget that that's a remaster.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned Saints Row 4, and then other than that, I think just the Tomb Raider, I guess. So I haven't got a ton of remasters, but Flower, can't forget that one.
I have Flower.
I think that was one of the. That might have been the first actual remaster on PS4. unless you count like Battlefield 4 or Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really count those as remasters.
No, those are more cross-gen games.
Yeah, exactly. And I forgot about Resident Evil. So, yeah, I am a big fan of remasters if it's priced correctly. But, other than that, what do you guys? What would you like to see as far as remasters going from here?
Games from last generation, like new one, like newer masters.
Any generation, any generation.
Okay, any generation. I think I'm fine. No, I'm not really asking for any new remasters. I mean, I guess if anything, I love the Kingdom Hearts series. I'd pay to buy all those games all in one giant package. But other than that, I mean, I'm not really wanting it that badly because I have it on PS3. Other than that, I don't really want any more remasters, but I love remasters. So if they come out and I'm not thinking about them right now, I'm like, oh, hey, maybe, and I'll go out and get it. But I don't really want any right now.
What about you, Steve?
I think I'm probably good. The only one I would probably get at some point if they released it was Beyond Two Souls, just because I'd never played it on PS3. And although I know it got less than stellar marks, I still would like to try it out just because I'm so interested in that studio.
Hasn't that been rumored for the last 7 or 8
for
months?
A while.
yeah, for a long time.
I expected them to announce it alongside the God of War 3 one, actually. But they didn't.
Yeah, or maybe they'll announce it alongside Quantic Dream's next game.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And I mean, as far as Beyond Two Souls, I actually really loved it, but I mean, it definitely didn't have as much choice or as much consequence as Heavy Rain, but I still really loved it a lot. So I think a lot of the review stuff with that was kind of unfair, but and for me, as far as remasters I want to see, I want to point to one game because it kind of relates, but Oddworld New and Tasty. That's another remaster I forgot to mention because I mean it's a completely. It's not even a remaster. It's more like a rebuild.
Is that the one they released on PS Plus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's based on Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, which I never played on PS1. But what I would love to see get the same treatment is Metal Gear Solid 1. I absolutely love that game. I only just played it for the first time a year ago, and I played it again a couple weeks ago. Just finished. I absolutely love that game. I think it's easily in the top 5 greatest of all time. And it's when I replayed it, it just amazed me at how far ahead of its time it was, because it still feels like it doesn't feel super dated except for the visuals to me. And some of the the gameplay elements a little bit, but I still enjoyed the hell out of replaying it, and I'm very picky about playing older games. I usually just don't even enjoy myself if it's a really, like a PS1 or even a PS2 game. But that game just transcends all that crap, and it's amazing. I would love them to do a remaster in the style of Oddworld New and Tasty. Not just upgrade the textures and stuff like they did with the Resident Evil remaster, but fully redo them. Keep basically the same game and the same gameplay, but or just tighten up the controls a little bit, tighten up the gameplay a little bit, but just completely do new textures, new graphical effects. Because Oddworld New and Tasty is actually a really good looking game on PS4. It's a side scroll, but it's one of the better looking games on PS4. I think it's really pretty, and if they did that with Metal Gear Solid, I would be incredibly happy. And I could also say the same thing for Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. They did do remasters last gen of those games, but they were just remasters. They didn't really rebuild them, and I think that would actually be cool. But I'm not sure anyone would want to spend that much time on those games. Maybe someone would, but as far as you know how the business goes. But I think it would be cool if they did the same Oddworld New Tasty type thing to those games as well. Just because I'm such a huge fan of them, and having those games with new textures and new graphics effects, but basically the same core games. I think that would be amazing as well.
I guess when you bring that up, the one that comes to mind for me is Final Fantasy VII, of course, which I know we've heard
that's
forever.
Yeah.
But
it's a great one.
Yeah, like it would be cool just to have that with much better graphics, obviously, just completely like redone from the ground up that way, and then basically the same gameplay. And what would be interesting for me with that would be, would that bring people back to a turn-based RPG? Would that genre see a resurgence if they brought that game back? Would they remember how much fun they had with that? Because that's kind of a lost art, if you will, for the JRPG. I would love to see that kind of come back with, visual quality, what it is now, with the gameplay that was before, and see if that combination will work.
And I know that's what a lot of people were expecting at the PlayStation Experience when, the Square Enix guy came out. And then everyone was just like so disappointed, almost like Square was trolling us or something.
It seemed that way.
Yeah, no, that's a good one to mention. But I also would like to see, maybe it's not a remaster because I don't think it was ever on console, but Half-Life 1 and 2. Like, there's actually this mod group. They're not even like an official developer. Like, they're just some modders that got together. They're remaking from the ground up Half-Life 1. And if they put that on PS4 and Half-Life 2 as one package, that would be a really cool remaster to do as well, because I don't know if you guys have played them, but Half-Life 2 is absolutely incredible, especially if you include the episode 1 and 2. So that's the only other game I would like to see really remastered. There are definitely some others that I'd play if they did remaster, though. So I don't want to say those are the only ones, but those are the ones I'd like to see the most. Yeah. Definitely. I could probably think of a lot more, though, because like I said, I love replaying games, and there's a lot of games that would be cool if they fully upgraded the graphics to, current gen standards, and it's hard to say no to that a lot of the times for me personally, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Anything else?
No. I'm just, I just hope that they express a little more care remastering these games instead of just pumping them out, because that's kind of what they've done this generation. And like you said, games like the Metro Redux and the Nathan Drake trilogy, those two are really what they should be. They should be collections. They should give you a full picture of what they're trying to tell you. And these little piecemeal approaches like God of War 3 are just, those are unfortunately, someone mentioned the term cash grab. I wouldn't call them a cash grab, but they're just not, there's no context. Yeah. They're not giving someone a real look into the series and where it's going. You know what I mean? So that's my only takeaway from all this.
Yeah, like giving people PS Now codes for God of War 1 and 2 is kind of like a half-measure approach to it.
Yeah.
Because, there's obviously going to be a lot of people that haven't played those. So, one of my friends, actually, and he's always been a PlayStation guy, but he just never played God of War before. And he is interested in that remaster. So, hopefully his connection is good enough to play God of War 1 and 2 on PS Now. But that's another thing that I forgot to mention about that. Is like, there are a lot of people with connections that can't even do PS Now, so it's kind of like it's almost worthless for some people. Like myself personally, like I can't do PS Now on my home connection. Like I only can do it on my cell phone connection, which obviously you can't play 2 full games with limited bandwidth. You know what I mean? But
right.
Because I have a slow connection, and the average internet speed is only 3 megabyte per second, which is basically what I have, and that's not fast enough for PS Now. But I do think it is kind of cool that the PS Now for God of War 1 and 2, they're giving people 90 days. So I think that's pretty fair. That's plenty of time to replay both of those games more than once. So that is the bright side of it, I'd say. But yeah, overall, it is kind of a weird choice for remaster, because that game was one of the cleanest and nicest looking games on PS3, and it still stacks up to even games on PS4. Not all of them, but some of them. So it is kind of a weird choice for remaster. Right. And I'd probably say the same thing about Beyond Two Souls, because it was one of the better looking games on PS3, although it would look a lot cleaner on PS4, as all games do when you increase the resolution. But it is still kind of not really very important for them to do.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's not all bad in the world of remasters. So I'm sure there's a lot of people looking forward to the Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah, that's good.
Sounds fine, yeah.
All right, good chat. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you later.